The Out There channel.
Please sub and share.
Searching for the truth. UFOs, aliens, greys and ufology. Real images, real stories, real videos, real cases, researched and investigated by professionals in the field and cutting-edge discoveries. Multiple witnesses, abduction accounts brought to you by Team The Out There channel. Good to be back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action.
Yo, how's everybody? A last minute dash to do a show. I'm not sure if anyone's going to show up, but we'll see. So I'm not doing a late night one, I'm doing an Arvo one, afternoon. I'll just post up the side comments. So we're looking at the Dreamy Draw Dam UFO crash site and other planes that have come out since the last show on UFO crashes and other UFO updates, of course. And to see if we can get through some older material that we keep putting off. There's the side done. Yeah, so just an update on my situation. Skywatch had been postponed because one of my cameras got water in it, and this is the one I tried to fix last time. Now it's got some more little brown spots on the inside lens, and to take that apart is quite fiddly, this particular camera, so I didn't want to risk it. It's got little tiny wires and my little sausage fingers, not ideal for that type of small cables and stuff, and I'll probably end up breaking it. So I'm not going to pull it all apart just to clean it up. I think it's been opened up and repaired in China before, and they just sent it to me. They do this type of things. I'm pretty sure Chinese keep all the best stuff for themselves and sell all the crap that doesn't pass quality assurance to the rest of the world. That's what it comes across like to me, which is a bit of a shame, because if they did better products and better quality, they could compete on the same price point and people would still buy from them. I know we do get cameras at half the price if you buy name brands, but you know, there's no reason why they can't make it $20, $30, $50 cheaper and still make a really good profit. So what I'm doing is waiting for it to dry out in the kitchen, and we've finally got some sun here as well, which is a bit of a shame. Just bring it up, do a check. So this is the camera. It looks like most of the water is finally drying out of it. I've got it back in the kitchen where it's the hottest place. But you can see we've got now blue skies, but how long is it going to last, I don't know. We want blue skies for the night time. Often the clouds roll in. You can see there's a bit of cloud there now. But yeah, you can see the water spot has started to reduce. It was up to here at one stage. And you can see there's little brown spots there. If I zoom in, you probably see them a bit better. There's browns. Must be soot in the water. You know, you can see all the little brown smudges everywhere. I don't think it's on the outside of the lens, but I will clean it up, of course. But so yeah, it's better than nothing, I guess. So that's our. That was facing the window here, this direction, out that way to the northwest, and it gave us another perspective of it flying towards this way. So at the moment when we see planes coming down on this one behind the tree, we actually see further here below, and we can see more of the tree below it, where we can see where the plane disappears here. Looks like it goes below the roof, actually turns and goes behind the tree and heads off to the airport that direction. So yeah, we'll get to that. As you can see, it's really quiet when we do a live show again with the planes. So yeah, it's working quite good. I've been having strange camera problems though. The one at the front of the house is now playing up. It's lost all its presets, so it was aimed at a strange direction. I thought maybe someone had grabbed hold of it and tried to yank it off the wall and rotate it around, but who knows. It's too much bother going through all the footage just to see. Yeah, anyway, it's about a year old now, I think, or so, year and a half. But I've had cameras I bought from China the last 20 years. I still got one now. It's still going, but it's a bit clunky now with the turn-in. So they can build electronics to last 20 years, but once it gets to the 20-year mark, normally components start failing, like capacitors, and the microphone gets noisy. I think the Wi-Fi died in that camera that's 20 years old, and only the wired connection part works on it. So yeah, these new ones, you'd expect them to last that long too, but I think they purposely design them with second-hand quality assurance parts so they fail more often. That's how they keep the money flow in China, right? So yeah, we had a wee bit of a another conflict on Discord last night. Some things can't be unsaid, and 18 rules has now been banned. So unfortunately, it's come to that. It's like when you debunk someone's stuff, they go mentally crazy at you. Goofon's even having that problem right now, I understand. Someone sent him a docked video where the guy claimed he summoned him, and Goofon's upset him somehow. But now the guy's sending him abuse emails and all that to side chat. So this is what happens when you analyze people's videos. They get very angry, especially if they're grifters. That's what I find anyway. So yeah, you can only forgive people, give them second chance, third chances, fourth chances before you got to write them off and just carry on focusing on what your goal is in ufology, and that's to get rid of the noise and get to the truth. So yeah, Gabba's also been warned. Gabba's also keeps calling me a bad researcher, even though I provide him all the information. Some stuff I've looked at years ago, but now he's stuck on not QAnon, but the other one, Anomalous, putting out anti-NASA stuff, talking about ice crystals turning. I've been through all that. Ice can turn at 90 degrees. Ice can stop. Ice can go back and change directions, because there's stuff called electrostatic charge around the cameras, and ice is affected by electrostatic. Water is. You can bend it with a balloon, charge up a balloon, stick it near a running flow of water, and it will bend the water. You can do it at home. You can experiment with it. But there's also thrusters, which you don't see. You don't see the vapor thing. And I put out a thing last night showing you what mist looked like on camera. And that's exactly what happens in space. But in space, it's like in Russia, where it's so super cold that if you throw a cup of boiling water in the air, it'll vaporize instantly. And what they call, instead of calling it mist, they call it snow, cryogenic snow. Because in cryogenics they use nitrogen and other gases in very low temperatures, and when they become to normal room temperature, it's like they turn instantly into steam. So that's my news at the moment, but progressing on with UFO stuff, I guess. That's a side done. I better check the volume levels here. I think it's working alright. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And the LEDs are working alright there. So I assume it's coming out on Google okay. Although they do muck around with it. So back to the copyright business. The one that was 12 seconds of sound on that MUFON one finally got released. Excuse me, I got hiccups now. Got released after 30 days, right? And they basically give you the money back on it, which according to Google was 5 cents. 47 views and only get 5 cents. So I think that means, let's see, that would probably be about right, wouldn't it? I think if you take away ad blocker, reduces it quite a lot. Most people probably block ads. So yeah, some buy that YouTube Red, is it, where they can leave the ads going and support their channels through that system, where they pay to get the ads removed, but every time you watch a YouTube that has ads, they carve up some of the money they get from that membership, Google, and they give you some of it back in ad money. 1 cent in, what is it, $1 in every 1,000 views. So you work it out. Google's the one that makes most of the money out of all that. So yeah, that's a snap I got from an email there, which was good. So finally it released, and I did some shorts from it off the airplane UFO, right? So what's also interesting is, let me just get it up. Open there. So it's screwed up there with the tabs again. I was there, wasn't I? Yeah. Went backwards in the tabs. Let's just have a look here. So, see if I can bring up UFO. Right, it's actually called CosmicJudas. I think he did a clip where Ross Cohut. Oh, I found out the screwing up of the thing is to do with this dark thing. It's not quite a good add-on. It messes up some of the text. So I'll just get rid of that. And we should be able to now see the play bar. So, alright. He's also put up the one with the interview with, what's his name? DeGrasse. Talk about arrogant guy. I'm going to just play that first. See what he's done here.
What's your opinion on the recent UFO whistleblower, David Grush? I'm sure you've heard some whispers, or maybe you've watched it yourself.
I don't care what you said you saw. I'm not going to base an entire understanding of the universe based on what comes out of your mouth. And I don't care who you are, what your rank is. It doesn't matter. Are you human? That's all I care about. You're human. I need something better than that. Like, bring an alien into the open square. How about that? We have 6 billion smartphones in the world. Give me some video of people getting abducted onto a flying saucer. That would go viral overnight.
What's your opinion?
Okay, so anyone that's been in ufology for a long time knows all the camera problems we get, and they don't want to be filmed. Somehow they affect our equipment, our technology. So yeah, even getting out a phone and even a plane flying over the house, right? If you had to get your phone out the pocket, get the app up and aim at the sky, by then the plane's either too small or too far away to make any use on a smartphone, right? I have enough trouble trying to get it on my permanent cameras, right? And 13 seconds and it's gone. These scientists are just funny. They should try and maybe get into UFO research themselves and see there are strange things that happen, and it's very hard to document.
Opinion on the recent UFO whistleblower, David Grush? I'm sure you've heard.
Okay, so he's only taken a small clip from that. Also, it was quite funny. He was going on about, Kirk was going on about that he tried to film a porcupine in the tree, and he went on saying porcupines don't climb trees, but you can Google that and have it up in seconds that they're really good tree climbers. So DeGrasse is wrong on even on porcupines. So that was on Theory of Everything. And you can type in porcupine, and I don't know why he didn't do that. And probably could narrow it down. It'll probably be in the wiki though. Porcupine climb trees. There you go, you got a picture straight away of a porcupine up a tree. So Kirk was saying that they were walking a trail and they saw a porcupine up the tree. He tried to get a photograph of me. He said it was very hard to film it because of various factors. And it doesn't come out very good sometimes. So, while slow moving and lumbering on the ground, porcupines are adept climbers. So DeGrasse is totally wrong, saying it couldn't have been a porcupine he saw. So that was pretty good. Wish he did more of the interview clip though. But yeah, what we're looking for, Ross Coulthard, as some people call him, or cold heart. I think it's here somewhere. Where he's making claims that UFOs are so big that they can't be moved, and they simply just bury them and build a building around them. Which comes to the idea of the Dreamy Draw Dam too, right? Yeah. Didn't think it was that far down. Or did I miss it? I probably went swimming past it, probably. I think I might have shared it to mine, though. I might be able to find it that way. Oh, Lulu. Yeah, that crazy woman on the plane. A strange one. Alright, he's making it into music. The funny one is she's saying that guy's not normal on the plane, right? And then they switch to Zuckerberg drinking a glass of water. I think I got it on mine here somewhere. TikTok. Must be this one. But this woman here just went screaming down the plane. Doesn't look real to me. This is hilarious. Is it going to play?
I'm telling you, I'm getting the fuck off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the fuck off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two fucks, but I am telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this fucking
He isn't real either. He's a strange looking haircut. Oh, that just cracks me up, man. He's not real. I bet Elon Musk had a laugh for that one. Yeah, so getting back to this one here. Just trying to find the cold tard one. I think I must have gone past it. Was it this one? If it was around there.
These disinformation agents, these knocks. I have somebody that comes to mind, and we were talking about him at lunch. Lou Elizondo. Is he one of them?
Knock, knock.
Greer vs. Lou.
Motherfucker.
You sick fuck. Don't you dare
Oh, they do swear a bit, these guys, then.
use your glowing ass eyes on me.
Now you're under my control.
Damn, use it. Probably get another copyright claim. Because, you know, all the problem with Warner Brothers.
Quack like a duck, Mr. Elizondo.
No, I'm gonna fucking rip
I think it was before that one. I'm not sure if it's that one. You always got to have damn music on it. You should write his own music if he wants music on it. That way you don't have to worry about copyright. I think this is where they use that special Adobe After Effects where they can morph people's faces in real time. I was talking about the eyes get bigger and bigger. So that was one of the theories out there, that aliens were from the future and that's what humans turn into. The sun dims, our eyes get bigger. It's a good theory. Or we go underground because of nuclear war and we evolve into these alien greys. So that's obviously Ben Hansen. Looks freaky. Sounds like they've got some merry music on the background there. Quite clever what you can do with software now. It's hard to know what's real and what not. It's just the one. Here we go. Finally found the one we're after. Can't remember who the guy was interviewing him, but obviously someone trying to build up his channel.
How big is big?
Big. Okay.
We've got some music in the background too.
Is so big it can't be moved.
That's probably more than 5 seconds. That's the only problem. So big it can't be moved.
Is that what you're saying, Ross? Is that what you've been told?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
We've got a terrible lawnmower next door. Hopefully it won't last too long.
So big they built a building over it. In a country outside of the United States of the...
Okay, so he's saying this place outside in the United States, they built a building over it. And of course everybody on the web's now looking for this building. So if he knows exactly where it is from leakers, then he's got smoking gun evidence that he can reveal, can't he? So why doesn't he? And disclosure then has to be full blown then. So to me this is just more hearsay BS from these talking heads, right? And look, you can see the scroll bar is now shown. So it was that damn add-on filter to turn things black. Oh, over there. Yeah, looks like I have to go back again.
How? What I'm saying. So big they built a building over it. In a country outside of the United States
of America.
They're too bloody big. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, nothing. Alright, apart from making more money out of stupid people. Anyway, moving on. I'll give a link to that one actually, and you can go and check out his channel. He used to be called UFO Judas, I think. Now it's CosmicJudas. But usually these funny little clips from people showing. Go away with the lawnmower, man. That normally start out Sundays. Before we move on to the Dreamy Draw, whatever it actually means. And we got this one on the 29 Palm still, you know, the flare drop thing. People were thinking that all the images from the same location when they weren't. Obviously there was two sides of the mountain, right? One was where the military operation was taking place and the other side was where the camp was. So Mick's put this video together using the photographs and overlaying it on Google Earth 3D topology mapping to show you where they were standing. So we'll just play a clip of that. I'll just shrink that back down a bit. Okay, here I'm. Oh no, we've muted.
About these 29 Palms photos. People are a little confused because they think the photos are taken from the same location. They're actually taken from two different locations. There's two sets of photos. There's the original photos that were released by the Weaponized podcast, which were taken from Camp Wilson, from a couple of locations here, but this is one right here. We can geolocate it with these little yellow bollards, and we can see where it is relative to the mountains. You see the ridge line on the mountains matches there exactly, so we know that that's correct. The other one was taken from quite some distance away at a training village. It's a small kind of simulated village that they use for various training purposes. And these were the ones that were foiled, and they were also found on video on the internet several months ago. But the only one, unfortunately, that has a ridge line that's visible is one where you can only see the smoke trails of the flares. We do have several other photos of the flares themselves, like this, which is a little bit earlier, but we can't see the ridge line, but we can still geolocate it. And again, we can see here that the ridge line...
That's what I'm often talking about. There's no reference points, and that's often what's lacking in a lot of the UFO content videos.
It matches, and so we know that it's from here, which means that the flares themselves are going to be somewhere around in this location right about here.
Middle of the mountain.
And you'll notice this has a very bright pair of flares here. These are the visible light flares. There's a distinct difference between the visible light flares and the infrared flares. These are infrared flares, and
which are much dimmer. They're only 1,300 candles, as we found out, and the other ones are 1,000,000 candles, so that's the difference. But they mostly give off infrared, which makes them look like big blobs on the screen and illuminates the ground. As you know, from looking at my cam nighttime footage, how exposed the planes can be.
And these are the visible light flares, a lot brighter. Anyway, so there you go. That's the location.
I think someone has identified planes in the flare ones too. So there's going to be a big mothership hanging around with fighter jets buzzing around. Don't know if we can get to the information, but I think Mick has posted it. Yeah, so before we get onto the Dreamy Draw stuff again, a stupid turkey video has popped up again. This time on the Proof Is Out There show. Just shows that none of these people watch my stuff or can find it on Google, right? If they Google and search it. So Mark D'Antonio had no clue. Zero clue. And he's meant to be one of these talking heads in ufology. He should know all this stuff by now, that it was a lens extender, the cog that goes around the outside. I've actually made a short up of it. So yeah, I'll just play that again. So this is part of the ring that goes around the lens extender you connect onto the camcorder back in those days. And it's got these little notches and little, what do you call it, clip pins. And that's what you see here. inside the holes. So there's obviously two sets. One's interlocking into the other. That's how it screws on by turning it, as you know. And it clips into those little slots, plastic slots, and holds it on without having to screw it on and off, right? Easy remove and easy add on by simply line it up and twist. So that's all it is. And the guy just had a mismatch pair where different brands had the holes in a different place. So obviously most of the holes lined up so you could turn it on, but one of the holes here obviously didn't have anything in it, and he just wiggled it and showed the two alien heads. Like the edges there, but it's what. How are we gonna do this? So it's hard to find because it's such an old case. So it was really hard to find anything on YouTube with images of the inside of how the lens parts are. But normally, if you're an investigator, you'd get hold of one and pull it apart and show exactly. But this one's a close match. So we really needed the bit that clips inside here. This is the other side of it. So I had to cut out that bit in the middle there and then expand it, right? But this is one inverse of what we want. We want the other bit that fits inside. You see what I mean? So that's why it was a funny shape. It had like a flat bottom on it here, and it looked like it had curves coming up from the bottom. It's because you could only bend the lens so much and zoom in at the same time to simulate it being craft. It needs to be the bit that clips into those bits there. So we want the negative. Anyway, if you click on that and go to the full live show on that, you've got the full details of the breakdown I did. I don't want to rehash old stuff all the time, you know, unless it changes the outcome or verifies it even more solid, right? Yeah, Turkey footage. Okay. So it's just an update there again. Alright, onto the story here. I wonder if it's going to be all there. Yeah, it might be all there. So I might actually just get the reader to read that out. Because my eyes are a bit blurry today, unfortunately, again. I'll go back to the eye hospital in a month's time. They might schedule me to operate, hopefully. So yeah, we need Microsoft Edge up for that. So I'll read out all this guff on it. If you've not heard the story before. But again, I think it's all lies and disinformation and stories. It sounded a good story to start with, but the Bing chat, no, we don't want that. Okay, so let's load it up. I don't know all that crap coming up here. There we go. The recovered alien craft. Was it recovered though? It was buried, so that wasn't recovered. Maybe they shipped it off to another country and built a warehouse around it, as Ross Cohart has said. Yeah, how do we read this? Will that work? Read aloud. I made an icon there
The
now.
Recovered Alien Craft in Arizona's Paradise Valley by Marcus Loth. October 12th, 2017.
There's an old case.
October 13th, 2021.
Updated.
6-minute read. Posted in UFOs Cover UPS. While just about
UPS.
everyone in the Western world is
Cover-ups.
aware of the Roswell incident, and most of us have a view as to what we think about the authenticity of the reports from the U.S. military and witnesses alike. However, an incident that took place less than 6 months after the infamous crash, while relatively well known in UFO circles, is almost unknown outside of them. What's more, the encounter would involve the recovery of both the craft and the alien beings and would take place in a part of the United States that experiences UFO sightings more than many other areas of the country. Artist's drawing of a UFO crash. The origins of the encounter is available to us thanks mostly to the Frank Scully, arguably the first journalist and UFO investigator who as far back as the 1950s argued that the U.S. military had managed to recover both extraterrestrial beings and their interstellar spacecraft, predominantly in his book Behind the Flying Saucers, published in 1950. In the book, Scully speaks of a recovered UFO craft in Paradise Valley which contained 2 alien bodies. Almost 4 decades later, an unsuspecting witness would put his views of what he believed to be the incident described by Scully on record. Just north of Phoenix, Arizona, in early October 1947, perhaps unfolded one of the most bizarre, questionable, and convincingly intriguing encounters in UFO history. Perhaps it is the lessons the military learned so harshly, if you believe the original press release was correct, that contributed to their secretive approach to this encounter. Before we look at this account in more detail, check out the video below. It is one of the many UFO sightings captured in Paradise Valley today. Contents: hide. 1 Paradise Valley.
Paradise Valley. So that's another case. Early 47. Dreamy Draw Dam. Let's have a quick look at the video, I guess. Dancing lights. Oh, I've got another music one. Yeah, looks like a shaky hand. Could it be a flare drop? Look like flares then. Keep it steady, man. No. This is why you need a tripod. So I'm not sure what I'm to be looking at here, but dots in the sky gang. Ah, the great footage we get in ufology. God, that's probably worse than Corbell's one, isn't it? For sure. I wonder where... Oh, we got 2 lights approaching each other, was it? It's a bit hard to tell. Is this a cloud up here or what? See, this is why you need a day shot of the same location and where you're aiming at the sky, because it doesn't really mean anything. It could be just cars on a mountain edge or planes doing holding patterns for LA airport or whatever it is. Paradise Valley. I suppose we could have a look where that is on the map. Sounds like somewhere in Australia. But they got Surface Paradise. Where's maps? Why can't I see maps? Oh, it's the first one. Here we go. Paradise Valley Springs. Is that the same location? This is it. Go out to space. That's the North Island, so paradise is everywhere. Yeah, so Paradise Valley exists in lots of countries. Arizona, there you go. That probably sounds like it, but there's another one, Montana. Well, let's have a look at both. But I think it's Arizona. Why is it paradise? Because there's water there? Or what? Phoenix. Yep. So it would be in Phoenix, because that's where the Dreamy Dam thing is. So I guess that's probably why they included it. Arizona. But why is it paradise? And there is some water here. Paradise there though. It's quite a distance from the river here. Is that a little river there? What's that there? What's that going along there? It's like a highway or something. No? Could be water. Perhaps I need to bring up the satellite. Okay. There's a lake there. Looks like it might be a road. Or is it a canal? Is it canal? Oh no, it's a canal. Look at that. With little dams, or what do you call it? Gates where they raise the water up and down to let boats go through. So artificial, or is it a dammed upstream? Looks like it comes from the mountains. Arizona Canal. Okay. Man-made. Maybe they just followed the river that was there. And what's that there? Salt River. Don't sound very nice. Is it salty water? It's certainly green there. So yeah, there we got a rough idea. It's obviously using the water to grow crops there. There's certainly a lot of houses around it. Let's go back. Carry on.
UFOs over Paradise Valley. Watch later. Share.
We don't want that.
More videos.
I'm going to go down here.
Dice Valley, early October 1947.
Dice.
Selman E. Graves, a businessman and a private pilot, would witness part of the incident while on a hunting trip with friends. 1. It is from Graves, who would speak of his encounter, to UFO researcher Timothy Good in 1987, along with that of Scully, that the incident reached the public in the depth and detail it finally did, and seeming to verify somewhat the encounter told by Scully. Graves, along with 4 other men, as well as his friend Walt Saylor, whose property they had all converged for the morning, were planning to hunt in Paradise Valley. More specifically, a particular region northwest of their present location. Sailor, when arriving back home, late to greet his guests, would inform them that their planned hunting destination was unfortunately off limits to them as the Air Force had restricted the area and would not permit the firing of weapons.
Damn.
Graves wished to explore near mine shafts and on a small hill, in a similar direction, but promised not to fire their guns. He and 2 others left the main group in order to do so. When arriving at their destination, their vantage point would offer the 3 men a bird's-eye view of the entire surrounding area. He could see his friend's house. He could also see, in the direction they were originally planning on hunting, a large, aluminum, dome-shaped thing.
Aluminium!
Which was roughly the size of the house.
American.
Graves would also describe a scene of pitched buildings, tents, and men moving about. At the time, the men were keen to explore the area around the mines, thinking the spectacle they could see to be nothing more than an observatory dome. A fuller picture? When Graves read Frank Scully's book years later, and in particular the Paradise Valley incident, he instantly recalled the observatory dome he had witnessed and how in fact it was a crashed vehicle from another world, the same one described by Scully in Behind the Flying Saucers. He managed to meet with at least one of Scully's sources during his own investigations into the encounter, and when he finally put the incident on record through Timothy Good, he could offer a fuller, although speculative at times, version of events. From Graves' perspective, it was likely Sailor who had found the crashed craft while inspecting their planned hunt that morning. Being that Sailor was an ex-military man, it was also
Sailor.
Likely, according
Hello,
to Graves,
Sailor.
that it was he who alerted the military to its presence and then did his utmost to keep his guests away from the area. Graves also recalled seeing military flatbed trucks leaving the area, and although he did not think anything at the time, he now believes this is how the 2 alien beings left the scene. Interestingly, one local
driving
legend
the
of
truck.
the encounter tells of a local man storing these alien beings in his freezer until the military could arrive. If Graves' theories are true regarding Sailor's involvement, then perhaps that local man is also Sailor? Graves would also speak of topographical maps of the area that suddenly changed when updated following the incident. The updated versions essentially moved the original location of the Cave Creek Road, the area of the downed craft. When Graves inquired as to how to obtain an original map, the reply was, a copy no longer existed. Graves would also speak to Good about a project designed to literally cover up any evidence of the craft. Dreamy Draw Dam. One particular urban legend of sorts is that of Dreamy Draw Dam, 3, which some believe came into being with the sole intention of covering over the crash site. The area is now a recreation area, although the legends state the ruined craft was simply too large to move, certainly in any kind of covert
Ross
way,
Cohart.
so the decision would go ahead to conceal the wreckage by building over it. Essentially hiding in plain sight.
That's
Graves
not
would state that several
Arizona is not another country, but I suppose
incident, a government
suppose it
project
could
to
be
renovate
classed
the
as
area.
another country. But Linda Moulton Howe talked about, I'm not sure if it was this one, but she also talked about a UFO crash, and instead of trying to dig it out, they decided to bury it in plain sight, and then because it was on public land, they got the government to fence it off and claim it as a military zone, so no one could go near it, and they had trucks going in and out, and it had a little tunnel they built going into the UFO. This is what she was saying in the presentation, so maybe Ross has heard that story from Linda Moulton Howe, I don't know, but always read this one online here. But you can keep the grift going, right? Still not going to solve it. It's just going to be another story that gets regurgitated. But yeah, would you no, if people saw it, would you just leave it there? Probably not. You'd probably try and move it somehow. Or you'd shut up those people. Kill them. That's the other conspiracy, isn't it? So it was a mothership that come down, but in that video there, that clearly looked like small objects of some sort. Could have been just military planes doing simulated attacks on each other. Who knows? Back then in 1947, when they filmed it, it must have been on old technology, right? And there was no VHS or handy cams back then. That would have had to been regular film. So yeah, I suppose that Paradise Valley didn't happen in 47 though. That would have happened, what year was it? Forgot. Did it actually say? Still 70s. It's still, it does say 47 there, and it says 87 here. 40 years later. So yeah, I don't know when the film was done. Probably 47, going by that then. 87, let's see, I think VHS sort of come out then. It had handycams, wasn't it? 87, seems to ring a bell. Jasper, you would know. When did the handycams first come out? Was it in the 80s? 82, 85? Didn't expect to see you. What is it? Must be pretty early where you are. Early in the morning. Unless you're an early riser. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I think you might be the only person so far. I've been going for probably half an hour or more, is it? Oh, it feels like half an hour, but it's probably a lot more. How much time we spent on it so far? Time flies when you're having fun. Oh, almost an hour. So yeah, I can see we're not going to get through everything today probably. Who knows, but we'll keep on going. So we'll just go through this account of seeing UFOs and then one crashing and then being covered up by burying it.
Area. During the course of this project, they would go to the crash site and dig it up with a bulldozer. Dreamy Draw Dam sign and surroundings. Graves claimed to have witnessed this operation. According to him, there was no methodical digging over as you would expect from a professional project. The aim here was simply destruction. Furthermore, again based on claims by Graves, this type of project is a favorite tool of those whose job it is to conceal such.
So if it's destruction, wouldn't you use explosive or wrecking ball and all that sort of stuff? How would you wreck a UFO? It'd have to be by explosives, I would have thought. But then you'd have little bits flying everywhere. Yeah. Using bulldozers to wreck it. I think if something crashed, you'd probably, like a plane, you'd cut it up with a welder. If the parts were too big, and stick it on the back of a truck and just put a tarp over it, right? You'd just truck it off in various trucks continuously until it's all gone. That way, then you could reassemble it and see what brought it down. You'd do the same with a flying saucer or a fort. You wouldn't destroy it. So, to me, this sounds a bit suspect what he's saying here. No methodological digging over. Aim was to simply destruction. I don't believe that. If you had something major, high technology fall to Earth, you're not going to destroy it. You're going to want to analyze it, right?
such downed mammoth craft as the one apparently sitting under the Dreamy Draw Dam. Interestingly, given that the area is for the public's recreation, there are an abundance of signs informing the public certain areas are off-limits to them. No trespassing and warnings of fines and imprisonment are aplenty. According to one local resident who got as close as he could to one of these off-limit areas, a persistent and unexplainable humming sound was coming from underneath his feet. Check out the video below. It looks at the legends that surround Dreamy Draw Dam, and whether or not it really conceals a crashed UFO. Hotbed of activity.
Okay.
While we will look a little further at Frank Scully.
Is this Open Minds? Who's doing this one? I think it's Open Minds interview, isn't it? I suppose it's alright to play it. Just play a clip of it anyway. It's only 2 minutes long. At least we get to see some of the area. Okay, so there's the dam. Now we have these all in New Zealand, dams like this, for flood prevention. Normally near where rivers are. You see, it's just a load of stones that you get in the river here. Looks very much like the same type of stones. And you make them pretty wide. And up to 20 feet or more. And that allows you, the river, to get up to that level. But doesn't mean that it can't keep on growing and, of course, exceed the stock banks. And you can see the build-up between a valley here. Use the natural terrain off the mountain sides here, instead of having to do it the hard way, build a stock bank along the edge of the river totally. That would make sense. They haven't even put a concrete road on top, so it's not a dam. So obviously it looks like a stock bank to me, the slope and all that here. Yeah, humming sound, buzzing sound, humming sound, like buzzy bees. Bzzz. Getting into the what's topic. Yeah, it's about UFO crash sites. They are too big to, the UFOs are too big to move, apparently, so they build a dam over it or whatever, a building over it. Is he still muted? No.
Well, the one that comes to mind is the
it's not really loud though.
Being buried underneath the dam, but I don't know anything about that other than hearing it repeated by kids.
It's on full volume.
Supposedly there was a spaceship that was buried there, but I'm pretty sure the core engineers built that for another reason.
I'll boost it up.
Bought the property in 79, 78 and turned it into an open space park. Some of the other parks like North Mountain and Squaw Peak at the time, now Piastwa Peak, was actually a parkland before that. But then all the surrounding lands were incorporated into the open space preserve, the Phoenix Mountain Preserve, about 79. Before that, the land was used probably for mining in the turn of the century, 1800s, 1890 or something like that. Of course, they're looking for gold and silver. Didn't find any of that, but they did find cimarron, which was the native ore for mercury. And mercury was widely used for a lot of different reasons and applications back then, so they used it for all that. And so there's a lot of old mining holes, glory holes, and mine shafts lacing the park grounds for that reason.
Not too interesting so far, is it?
In 1980, mid-80s, the Corps of Engineers came in and built Dreamy Draw Park with the dam behind us there for flood control for the county. Again, the history of Phoenix is punctuated by various big dam projects to harness water, to get a constant supply of water, and also regulate the heavy storms we get in the summer months. I have seen the park go underwater at times.
Well, obviously there's a bit of greenage here, so that means there must be some water in the area, right? for plants to be able to grow green. Everywhere else in Arizona looks like a desert. So it must be underground water there at least. So yeah, you build the stock banks in prevention, and there may not, the water may not ever get near the stock banks. You don't build it right on the edge of the river. You normally build it a wee bit back from rivers normally. But yeah, they may have these dams all over the place, just in case you get crazy rain happening like climate change, where it rains for 2 weeks non-stop, right? And that river's going to overflow like it has done in North Island of New Zealand recently. And they didn't have stop banks like we do down South Island here. We've got big stop banks on major rivers at least, which have protected a lot of properties. But bridges always get damaged, of course, from logs and especially from mining, where they mine lumber, cut it down, and they throw all the offshoots on the edge of the water or into the water and make it float away. Obviously it all piles up, and of course you get that hitting you in the car on a river. If you get stuck in the river, it's going to kill you. Also it's going to knock the bridges, keep knocking the bridges, and concrete finally breaks or gives in.
So there's a lot of water, there's a lot of watershed above us, and all that water is draining to this low area. And if I guess it wasn't for the dam, it would race through the drainage and into the city and destroying or damaging home properties. The park gets its name from the mining days, and what I've been told by some of the old timers that back when City Phoenix was below Thomas and you had Central Phoenix there, as they were mining this in the 1900s, early 1900s, the guys would come into town and get supplies, and the townspeople would note how drifty or kind of like in a dream state the miners were. Maybe they were just tired, but the other reason for that might be is if you were handling mercury every day, which is a heavy metal, it's poisonous, and it tends to accumulate over time, and it does kill brain cells, and it makes you stone-like or slow, much like myself.
Much like yourself. He's been sucking too much mercury. Yeah, funny guy. Okay, let's keep on going.
Dreamy Draw Dam UFO cover-up.
Too loud now.
Watch later. Share. More videos. 238, 251.
Where are we at? Let's read in this video title. Want to go there? Screwed up, is it?
Hotbed of activity. While we will look a little further at Frank Scully and how genuine or authentic his accounts and theories might be, the areas in and around Arizona are an absolute hotspot of UFO activity. The deserts and rural areas of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Colorado are awash with strange UFO sightings, claims of top-secret alien government bases, and strange, often reptilian.
Now, what's common in all those locations there? Air Force bases and coastline, right? So, Catalina Island near California, deep water. I still think a lot of the UFO activity does come from the seas itself. It's the best place to hide, really, when you think about it. Especially if you look at that recent submarine disaster that happened. There's only certain depth that humans can get down to safely. If you can go beyond that, you've got all that water for radiation protection, and also hide it in plain sight pretty much. So yeah, and of course that doesn't mean, that also means that aliens could also be water creatures, right? Where there's water, there's life, is normal thing. They're talking about reptilians here. Again, reptiles originally come from the water, right? Some have web in between their paws as well.
Reptilian beings. One of the most famous sightings, not just in recent times, but throughout history, is the Phoenix Lights incident of 1997. Thousands saw the spectacle firsthand, while millions more witnessed it on their television sets across the world. Now, in the age of the internet, it is perhaps one of the most viewed pieces of footage online.
Yeah, I got fooled by that when I saw it in the news too. I thought it definitely, you know, people were saying they saw craft and that was the lights of the craft. But, yeah, until we got into the actual UFO topic and actually started researching it ourselves, instead of using mainstream media, we found out that there was actually flares being dropped and not actually the lights off the craft in question. So, yeah, so what the people saw we don't know because no one bothered to film it. All these millions of people in America, not one caught any footage. It's kind of strange to me. But 87, 97, wasn't that just the early days of smartphones? Did they have cameras on smartphones back then? I don't think my one did, 97. I think, let's see, when did cameras on phones first happen? 97. Let's see, but yeah, it's probably pretty close to when Phoenix Lights happened. When did Phoenix Lights happen? July, was it? So there wouldn't have been too many people carrying these phones. Created the first camera phone solution to share pictures instantly. Birth of the camera phone. Let's see what that one says. That one's got a different answer. So it's 97, 99 it says here. VP210, Japan. So that's way after. At the time had 110,000 pixel front facing camera. Only a front facing one too. Okay. So maybe the other one was the same too. Which phones had multiple cameras first? Okay, let's have a look. HTC. What year was that? Because that's the one that would make the difference. 2005, they certainly would. After rolling out in 2002, the Nokia. Company's first phone with a 0.3 megapixel sensor. So 2000s, I suppose that would be about right. If I think about the camera, a phone I had didn't have a camera, and the phone cameras were way too expensive. 2005, yeah, that sounds about right. 2004. The first camera phone was sold 22 years ago. Okay, so maybe that explains why we didn't get any pictures like we do nowadays. And of course, security cameras is another thing. There wouldn't have been too many people with security cameras on their house like we do now. Back on to this.
Online. The reasons for why such activity is so rampant are as varied as the sightings themselves. Some believe the crashed crafts of the 1940s are attracting further crafts of the same intelligent control. Others argue that the recent sightings are likely the result of reverse-engineered technologies by the military in top-secret test flights. Or, if the claims of recovered alien beings, sometimes alive beings, then perhaps the sightings of top-secret bases beneath the ground in the southwestern states of America, bases that contain both humans and non-human entities, should go under more serious investigation. Check out the video below, a recent news broadcast that looks at the UFO crash in Paradise Valley in a little more detail. Dr. G and...
So is that where the Dreary Dam is, in that canal, or Paradise Valley? So let's do a search on that. Paradise Valley to Dreamy Draw Dam. Enter. There we go. So where's Paradise Valley disappeared to? Whereabouts was it? Alright, it's got it mentioned there, Paradise Valley. So it's not too far away. And it does look a bit rocky, deserty there, doesn't it? And there's a water supply there. A pond of some sort. That could overfill. And why would they build a dam there though? What's 51? 51. Oh, it must be that road there. What's this box around here though? Looks like a road system. Alright, so that's a road system that goes around in a square box around the whole place. And that's just part of it here. So, where's the rivers? Well, it does look like terrain that would funnel water downwards into the valleys here. And it would come washing down to the buildings down here. In all sorts of directions. Is that little creeks here? Is that creeks? Those little squiggles? No. What's these things here? Trying to figure out these maps. Is that little road tracks or walk tracks? Could be walk tracks, I guess. Is that a river there? Or dried up river? It kind of looks like it. So where's the dam? Further up here. So where's any water near it? What's that say there? Dreamy Draw Bikeway. What have we got here? Aha, there's the dam. They didn't block it out on Google Earth, the UFO crash site. Yeah, it does look like a dam, doesn't it? It does look like it is blocking off, and here's some water. So how's it protecting? We've got a motorway. I suppose you got to look at the topology, as they call it, right? I suppose we've got water up there. Could come all the way down here, cross the motorway, wash it out, and all those buildings there. So it sort of does make sense if they had a major storm. But it's not too green there at the moment. But there definitely is water there. So yeah, you would build stop banks. I suppose they're using the natural valley, thinking it's high enough if it got flooded. And it'll come down into here. So they must have more stop banks around, not just there. Looks like they might have one here, I would say. Is there one there? Looks like something built up there. What's that there? Alright, it's just natural. Alright, more water there. Underground water. Water. Yeah, it does kind of look raised up here. That kind of looks like a natural dam, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. I have done some searches on dams to see where they have them, and they've got more over the place in California. But anyway, on to the story again. I was playing the clip now. Oh.
1997. It is by far the most talked about occurrence in the UFO community.
So what if we told you there was another alleged UFO incident here in the Phoenix area? This one happened nearly 70 years ago in an area that's pretty well known here in the valley. Chances are you may drive through it all the time. Linda Williams now with this story.
I've lived in north central Phoenix for more than...
Alright, this one. This one's got music, X-Files music in it. So there's the dam from the ground view. It's not that big. It definitely looks like a stop bank. Is what we call them, stop banks. It looks like they've got a car up there or something, is it? You can see this mountain range. Now we can see how elevated it is, right? It does look like it does go right down here, right? So this is obviously the top of the peak here, and so they decided to build the dam from that peak to the other side. Oh, it's quite steep.
At the base of Squaw Peak, now known as Piestewa Peak. The space saucer then bounced...
So there we go. Quite high. And there's that motorway we saw. What's that? Spider on me. I felt something crawling on me. As long as it doesn't bite me.
Gift miles away, landing in Cave Creek, or perhaps Paradise Valley.
It does look a bit dry there, I must admit, though.
Another version says there were
That's part of the conspiracy, that it doesn't rain enough to warrant a dam, but, you know, with the climate changing now, where it's raining quite heavily in places that never had much rain before, just to me, that's looking forward. You know, that's basically what they should have done in New Zealand, probably other places. They should have been reinforcing the banks from mudslides and building stop banks everywhere and reinforcing sort of mountain edges that crumble. If they spent the money, the billions of dollars on that infrastructure in the first place, then there wouldn't be billions of dollars now in New Zealand, right? So this would be the same in America and other countries.
actually aliens on board who perished, and their bodies were hauled away by the U.S. government. Dreamy Draw Dam was then allegedly built over the crash site to cover it up.
All we know is, because that's what I sought to do, is to figure out what
Rojas.
happened at Dreamy Draw, when, where, how, and all I could find is that there were rumors. There was a witness who claims to have seen something happen either in Cave Creek or Paradise Valley or Dreamy Draw, but that's as far as it goes. Unfortunately, before I could speak with this witness directly, he passed away.
Alejandro Rojas, radio
Bugger.
host of Open Minds Radio, is a UFO researcher and journalist. He explores UFO phenomena from this Valley office.
Yeah, there's the X-Files music. I wish I wouldn't do that. So, do we need to know anymore?
Why it's there.
Rojas says the UFO community relies heavily on anecdotes, especially from the earlier years. 1947 was a very busy UFO sighting year.
1947, there were a lot of things being seen in the sky.
The Dreamy Draw spaceship crash was reported in early October of 1947. But a few months earlier, on July 7th of 1947, this picture was taken by William Rhodes of Phoenix.
Ah, the Rhodes D-shaped saucer. And yeah, I've talked about in that past lives. This was a couple of weeks before the Roswell incident, where Arnold saw the 9 skipping discs in the sky. To me, that kind of reminds me of a flying wing. You know, it looks like it's got some wing extensions here. Looks like a single wing. Looks like a reflection of a cockpit here, doesn't it? But yeah, we're meant to get Robert on to recap the Roswell stuff. I don't know if he's still going to do it or not. Things keep changing all the time. But to me, that could have been paperclip Nazi technology being tested there. And the Roswell crash could be this particular craft that crashed, right? It looks very saucer-like, but also looks like flying wing to me. Not many flying saucers, classic flying saucers, had little aerodynamics like that. It was more shaped into a sphere, or what do you call it? 2 saucers up joined together. Because I think that's how you would have to create a charged skin and create a field to be able to do mass reduction to make it lighter. But this looks like it's designed to fly in the air to me. So anyway, enough on that one. We want to carry on what they're saying here.
Did a UFO crash in the valley?
No, we don't. Dr. Gee.
Dr. G and overall credibility. Scully's credibility, or more to the point, the sources he would use, are regularly put under scrutiny. Consequently, many of his encounters are easily dismissed by even enthusiastic UFO researchers. However, many maintain Scully's genuine nature and overall credibility, and while some of his sources may indeed be guilty of feeding disinformation to him, you have to ask the question as to why the powers that be would feel the need to do that in the first place. Of course, as muddy as that makes the waters.
If it's like the Rhodes flying wing experimental craft, there's a good reason to make it believe that it's aliens, and people will laugh it off and carry on with their life, right? And the Russians don't get to hear about it.
Waters, as far as Scully's case studies go, it is important to remember that within the bits of disinformation will be valuable and genuine information that needs to be sifted out. It is an interesting approach by those who wish to play the UFO card close to their collective chests that are worth bearing in mind when assessing how authentic individual UFO researchers and investigators might be. Incidentally, one of Scully's informants would go by the name of Dr. G and was in fact several prominent scientists who, for purposes of his published work and for their anonymity, had their accounts told by this made-up person. Regarding Frank Scully's credibility, perhaps it is best to give the last word to his wife, who relayed a comment about her husband by Captain Edward Ruppelt during an interview in the late 1970s. Ruppelt, recently retired as head of Project Blue Book, would state, "Of all the books published about flying saucers, your book was the one gave us the most headaches because it was the closest to the truth." Check out the video below that looks at the aforementioned Phoenix Lights episode in more detail. References.
Right, so we got to the end
1.
of that one anyway.
Did a UFO crash in the valley?
So, yeah. So, we'll just leave that open. Just go back to the other one. So, we just read that one. recovered alien bodies, which are craft, I mean, and bodies, I think we heard. So we got some other ones here. UFO crash site, another one. Dreamy Draw recreation area. Strange name of a place, isn't it? But they explained it because it was miners. And they called it the Dreamy Draw River, I think. Actually, let's just look at that up. Where's the river near that one? Is there Dreamy Draw River? Or lake? They call it recreation area. Dam Drive. Let's go to the recreation area. Where's that? Okay, it's not too far from the dam. Okay, that's what was in the video, wasn't it? Alright, there's the distance. And what's up here? What's the river though? Or the creek name, or whatever it's called. It's got to be a creek name, surely. Doesn't really show it there though, does it? Here's one here. Also, it looks like a river. What's that one called? Indian Bend Wash. That's not the name of the thing, is it? Oh, look at that. Is that water? Yeah. Looks like golf courses. Is it golf courses? What is it? Looks like water. Yeah, it does look like water, doesn't it? With weed, maybe? I don't know. Suppose we'd have to get down to ground level and have a look. Let's see. It's always good checking out these places. He's not going to let us get there. Whoop. We want to get there. Hasn't lit up. No, it's not going to let us get there. How about there? Is there a road there? No. Where can we drop? Got something. So where's the water? Up here? No. Paul's lost his way already. Must be here, surely. What's that little map say? It's called Golf Club, so maybe it was grass. Okay. Looked like water. I wonder if Donald Trump owns it. There must be underground water there of all that green stuff. Okay. So where we end up at? We went round in the circle, did we? We got swimming pools. Lots of swimming pools, like every house has got a swimming pool. So this is a golf course. Okay, so look at, that's why it's got stripes. Yeah, it's mowed lawn. Obvious. I thought it was green weed or whatever. That looks like water there though. A pond, is it? We're going off course here. I was trying to find what the river was for the dam. Oh, I didn't know you could drag that. You can too. Alright. Yeah, probably best to search river or creek does Dreamy Draw Dam protect? I think I got a PDF document that actually lifts off all this information. I probably should go and read it. River or stream name, Dreamy Draw, but we typed that in, it didn't come out in the list. Maybe I'll just go back. Okay. Start a new search. Did I actually paste it? Yep. Was it stream? Stream, not river. Okay, what do we got here? Recreation area. No river mentioned. What do we got here? Recreation area again. So where's the stream? I'm confused. Okay, let's just go there. Creamy. Creamy draw. Flood control. Flood risk. This might be the document I had, but they've done it in a different format. 1973. Okay, we've got rivers listed. No, highway. Phoenix Mountains Reserve. Citrus Grove. Trailer Court. Trailer trash. I can see a little stream here. Okay, what do we got here? What's that say there? Dams. See, there's a lot of dams. Roosevelt, Granite Reef, Reach 11, Painted Rock, Cave Creek, Low Risk, low, high, Saddleback, Thunderbird Park Reservoir, so that's one of those lakes. Cortex Tank, that sounds like a man-made one. There's quite a few. Town Lake, Fountain Lake, high. Mountain Flood Detention, Westpac, all these ones are high. Dreamy Draw, it says high here. So we've yet to see lots of water here. But we never saw it on the map, so I'm a bit confused. Where is the river? There's a ton of houses there. Well, there's the main centre, obviously. I can't see, unless it's a concrete unless it was that canal, but whoop, computer's acting up here. Yeah, it should be like a blue strip of water, shouldn't it? We didn't see much of that. Does that look like water? Maybe it's dried up. Maybe that's there, but maybe every 100 years it floods. I don't know. It does kind of look like a stream of some sort, doesn't it? Muddy water, is it? Got no name tag on it, so I'm not sure how we can find out. Does look like water, might be there though. But it could be a road. But it does look like a stream, a dried up stream. And a dirt road next to it. So it definitely looks like water. And then what happens to it there? Looks like there's some sort of concrete thing. Now that could be the Hammond, a pump house maybe. So they collect water there. Maybe there's no water in it because maybe, oh, there's the dam. Yeah. So they've got a little pump house up one side of it here. Perhaps they collect water from it for irrigation or drinking even. But why can't we find a name of it? Why isn't there no name of this thing? It's got to be that, isn't it? All this here. Won't let me scroll down for some reason. So where does it go from there? Trying to zoom in, but it's not responding. See, that looks like tracks there. Draw bikeway. Maybe it's like underground stream. Looks like it comes out there, is it? Oh, I don't know. It's not letting me zoom out for some reason. It's playing up. Now it is. What's that there? Going this way. Is that another stream or dried up stream? Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Now a bridge there. There's a bridge. So there's another stream coming this way. Could easily flood out these properties if it overflows. Goes this way. Where's it going to? We'll just follow it. Going this way, and then looks like it's overflowing there if it is. It's all blurry here, strange. So where does it go to there? Nowhere. Some concrete building here. Green trees. Must be going along here. I guess that's it, you know. Anyway, enough of that one. So what are they saying on this article? Just have a read of that one too. Ah, right, how do we do it? Alright, so I'm back in the other browser that doesn't have it. So it's a bit of a letdown that they don't have read aloud there. Yeah, probably should have kept the other one open then. There, I'll get it to read out because my eyes are not terribly great at the moment. I think they should all have a built-in reader. Saves a lot of hassle. Yeah. Click on the A.
Support us.
No.
Phoenix's independent source of local account.
It's not reading that very well.
I support.
No, we don't.
Support us.
No.
Best of.
Oh no, what happened
People
there?
and places. Best of Phoenix. People and places.
Oh god.
2011. Best underground artist.
That's a terrible website. I should have just highlighted that all. Where's it disappeared to? Should be able to just reload it, shouldn't you? Let's see if it works. No. Ah, crap. That's a terrible site. It's using some HTML where they've chopped it up into various frames, right? And it's gonna be a bastard to read. We've lost it. Damn. No. UFO 1. Where is it? Crap. Hang on, let's just close it down again. Let's paste it again. Here we go. Okay, we've got the article back up. Okay, let's just highlight it this time. It's going to go wrong. Well, it doesn't say much anyway.
Support us.
Oh no.
Phoenix's independent source of local news and culture.
I highlighted it.
Account. Local. Community.
Far out.
Journalism.
Oh, stuff it.
Support the independent.
We've been sabotaged there. Okay, let's read it out then. Stupid program. So what's it say on this one? Yeah, when it comes to Phoenix best urban legend, folks tend to forget the facts and just love the lore. Isn't that the truth? The lore in October 1947, there was a UFO crash in which is now the Dreamy Draw Recreation Area. So it wasn't built, the dam wasn't built over it, it was built over the recreation area. That makes more sense. Two men named Silius Newton and Dr. Gee claim to have pulled alien bodies from the wreckage and stored them in a freezer. So we heard it in the other article, until the US Army picked them up. The Dreamy Draw Dam was then built over the crash site to cover it up. The facts, aside from a couple of niche books on UFOs, there's no documentation of an alien crash at Dreamy Draw, and no records from the crash has ever surfaced. You think that if there was a crash, though, there'd be maybe some micro part left behind that a metal detector could find. Newton and G were exposed as con men. The former was even investigated by FBI for his business dealings. And the dam was not built to cover up anything, but for the same reason any dam is built, to prevent flooding to the surrounding neighborhoods. Well, unless it's a hydro dam, it's to produce energy. Also, the dam wasn't constructed until 1973, which would make it the worst and most tardy structural cover-up ever. Still, it's kind of fun to hike Dreamy Draw and imagine there are little green men buried beneath the dam. And that's what it says on that one. So, sounds like they're a bit of dodgy men. So why did they make up the story? To maybe get money from it? Draw attention to them and their business and people go and see them? Or maybe just make a quick butt with news channels requesting interviews. Yeah, who knows? But wouldn't you have taken private photos and hidden them away if you're going to give the bodies to the government? Doesn't sound right, does it? And there's another variation of the story too, that they discovered it, froze the bodies, and they put a tarp and shoveled some stones and bushes over top, sand or whatever, to hide it. And then they came back 20 years later, saw it was still there, and decided to move it. I don't know, even that sounds even more of a dicky story if I've ever heard one. But anyway, there's obviously going to be variations to the story, but you can see how tall these peaks are there, and the valley here, which is where the rivers build up and all that. So what's the next thing I've got here? Defense Technical Information Center. Okay, I think this article. Read the full text of this report. Dreamy Draw Dam Master Plan and Future Design. New River Phoenix City Streams. Army Engineers, Los Angeles. Dreamy Draw Dam provides flood prevention to the metropolitan Phoenix area. The document provides a factual, environmentally sound basis for the development, use, and management of natural and man-made resources with Dreamy Draw Dam Basin. The document also presents a specific land use site plan with estimate costs. That sounds definitely like a government report, doesn't it? Click on that. PDF, yep, that's the one. Looks like it's a big long one. Okay, what do we got here? Gee, nice. It's terrible, isn't it? What's that? What's that say? Page 1. Alright, must be all the different pages, is it? Of the report coming up. Hey, the first one. Master plan. It's a horrible font. Not sure if I'm about to read much of it. Army Corps. Recreation planning. Flood protection, yep. Keep on skimming it. Okay, what have we got here? Reports previously issued. 1964. Survey for flood control. So it looks like they were researching things, doesn't it? Gila River Basin, New River, and Phoenix City streams. Hydrology, Arizona. What else we got? Cave Creek, we saw that on the other list. To Peoria Ave. Skunk Creek, I didn't see that one. To the Arizona Canal, we saw the canal at the start when I looked at it. Goes right round, concrete thing. Aguirre River, Fryer River. I think we saw that in the other list when we were looking at it too. Although we couldn't see them on the map. Maybe they got it circled in this one. Yeah, it looks like a government report and engineer's report. Look at all the things they do. Sewerage, signs, parking. Just to build a recreation area. Costs. And the new river on Phoenix City streams. So that must be the name of the river. The new river. Just popped up from nowhere. Land use. Public law. Law. Description. Oh, $600,000, huh? Back in '73, that would have been quite a bit of money, I guess. Would it be worth $1.5 million now, probably? Pretty boring stuff, though. They could have built a tourist spot there and had made it into a little UFO building. That would have been pretty clever, and put an observation deck on top to attract the tourists there, I guess. I think it's like 47 degrees Celsius over there. It's like the middle of Australia at the moment. Imagine that kind of heat. That would kill us. At the moment, I'm cold because it's cold over here. Climate change. I'm freezing my toes off. So it looks like if this is all a cover-up for a UFO crash, 176 pages. Yeah, I don't think so. At least they got some guys in neckties that are good at producing streams and streams of information like this, just to cover up something. Yeah, I don't think so. Because someone's bound to find a mistake in it. It looks like it's been seriously studied and planned, and how they're going to construct it. Goes on and on and on. Who wants to read it? Not me. Is there any pictures? Give us some pictures, man. A book without pictures is no good. Yeah, that's pretty amazing amount of text there, right? Goes on and on and on. We're only halfway through. Cost estimates now. Booyah. Oh, that's it. Quite a lot of costs. Yeah. Well, if you want to go through all that and see where it leads, go ahead. PDF, Dreamy Draw Dam. Here we go. So I had a look at a few more bits here. So I put in flood protection dams America, and this one here I put in Dreamy Draw Dam. See what images come up. We've already seen it. There it is there again. That one's got some more water in it. There we go, look. So it does actually fill up from time to time then. Where did that picture go to? It was up here. Still can't zoom in on it. Yeah, there we go. Look, we can see some water there, definitely. But obviously it won't go above the dam size, right? So they must know maximum it gets in there. Because people said it never rains there. We don't see any water there. Obviously it does happen. Maybe it happened more back in the 70s than it does 2000s. There we go, we've got some water there. Alright, so and this one here, other dams. Okay, so what do we find here? Oh, here we go. California flooding. LA dams at risk of overflowing. Overflowing. Okay. So I've looked at some of these pictures here, and some of them are in pretty bad shape by the looks of it. Santa, that one looks like it's sort of crumbling bits there. Look at this one high up in the mountain ridge here, look. Won't scroll going. There's another one. And we've got that U shape to it. I suppose it's the strongest shape for the water to build up behind it that way. So they have got lots of these dams, but most of them are concrete. Not normal stop banks like the Dreamy Draw one. So they're quite big dams, right? Lots of water there. In fact, that one looks like it might have hydro machines on it to generate power. Now we have little dams like that throughout New Zealand too, like this. A lot smaller than this. That generate power for a little city, you know, little township. Have the salmon, is it? Yeah, dams are everywhere. Nashville flood control. Haven't seen any stone ones, so makeshift ones. All concrete. Americans love their concrete. That's what happens if you don't have flood protection. That's what happened in New Zealand, right? Normally you have your stop banks running in that side of the river, you know. Let's see if we can find some pictures actually in stop banks in Christchurch. Oh well, I suppose we could say that. Christchurch, New Zealand. See what comes up. See if anyone's taken any pictures of them. Okay. Because if you don't have stop banks, you get floods like this. Or if they give way, it floods the city. Let's see, what's that one? Avon River. They don't have much of a stop bank on that one. But you can see they build up the sides a wee bit here. You can see the stop banks here, a bit like Dreamy Draw Dam here again. Got that slope on it, and then you have the road at the very top, or bike track or whatever. And here they're building a stop bank. And that one there on a farmland here. So farmers have to build them themselves. I was hoping to get the Miok River, maybe type that in. Y, how do I spell it though? Miok Mary names. River. Oh, here we go. Now we did a lot of fishing there for salmon. So these stone, they packed a lot of stones around the edges and built up a amount of dirt behind here. So people could go fishing off them. You walk down on the stones and you fish off it. And you can see the Miok River goes all over the place, and it's quite wide at places. But it's got all that sort of grey gravel stuff. You can see how the river goes right through. Miok River in Christchurch. It's a right mess, isn't it? But yeah, we'd walk across these, walk across the water, try and get to the middle with all the backpacks and fishing rods, and set up a bonfire in the middle there when it's a cold day, and we'd be fishing all the streams and pools there. It was a lot of fun in the early days. Don't do that anymore. And when it rains here's the Alps, so when it rains all this turns into like mud. Mud water. All the silt comes down. But yeah, we're trying to see the stop banks. But they do have stop banks all around this to stop it growing. But you need to be bird's eye view down on the ground rather than up in the air. And that's what happens when it rains up in the Alps. Comes down like chocolate water. And you get all the sticks and stuff whacking onto the post of the bridges. Yeah, not really good view of the stop banks. It's not, most of it's taken from the air rather than ground. But they can get quite high. Yeah, right. You have to come to New Zealand and check it out. Come and see New Zealand. Be right back. Coffee, listening from the room next door. Okay. Concrete jungles. Yeah. New Zealand tries to avoid too much concrete. They try to make it more naturally. What was that one? Let's just have a look. So where were we heading to next? Are we finished with the Dreamy Draw? I'll just have a read of this one here. Eerie ring of red lights flashes like a massive UFO above Italy. Oh, okay, it's just something I found. Spoiler alert, not aliens. So yeah, so kind of unusual, isn't it? Does look like as Skinwalker Ranch Travis would like to say, a UFO portal opening up in the sky. Wonder if it's over Skinwalker Ranch. Not in Italy. Maybe that's the other end of Skinwalker Ranch. So, enormous circular halo. Eerie red light, which looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, recently flashed in the night sky above Italy. They don't even put a date there. What date is it? April 2023, so it's pretty recent. So I'm not sure if I heard about this on other UFO channels. The bizarre dish appeared and disappeared within milliseconds. So it sounds like a bit like lightning then, doesn't it? Meaning most people likely missed the strange spectacle. But one person, nature photographer Walter Benvenuto, managed to capture a shot of the luminous halo in the sky above the town of Possegno in northern Italy on March the 27th. So that was this year. However, the red ring was not actually located above the town. Instead, the massive circle, which was around 224 miles, that's a big wormhole, so 360 kilometers in diameter, blinked above the central Italy and part of an Adriatic Sea. Adriatic Sea. It was only a forced perspective that made the ring look as if it was hanging above the town. Okay, the ring flash is known as a emission of light and very low frequency perturbations due to electromagnetic pulse sources. So it's like Northern Lights then, or ELVE for short, according to the spaceweather.com. LVs are a rare type of stratospheric mesospheric perturbation resulting from intense thunderstorm. Electrification sounds like something Tesla would know about. The red rings are created when electromagnetic pulses, EMPs, given off by lightning, hit the Earth's ionosphere, the ionized part of the upper atmosphere that stretches between 50 and 400 miles. That's pretty big. Above the ground. So it's getting up there, isn't it? And that's the size of the ring. Looking down on top of it. Well, a rendered version of it. So why does it create a ring though? Again, it's a nature thing, isn't it? Seems to like spheres and circles. Due to their short-lived nature, LVs are normally visible only to satellites orbiting Earth and were discovered just in 1990 thanks to cameras on board NASA Space Shuttle. So NASA doesn't cover up everything. Everything. Bonito's new image is likely the best ever picture of one from the ground. Yeah, I haven't seen it before. Let's have a look at it again. A donut in the sky. Looks pretty good. Now I need to catch something like that on my Skynet at home here. As long as I don't get water on the lens, because that ruins everything. So if you've watched the beginning of the show, you know what I'm talking about. But the Skywatch is on hold again because of technical problems. Okay, where did we get to? So it's going to talk about the technical side of it here. Bonito believes that the LV was produced by EMF generated from a large thunderstorm near Ancona, a city around 174 miles southeast of Pesano. Normally, lightning bolts do not emit EMPs. Well, you hope not, because that would take out all your electronics, wouldn't it? Blow up your computer, you'd be really peed off. Oh, I certainly would. Blow up your cameras, so I'd be really angry. Because they do not carry enough current. Okay. So maybe it won't get down to ground level then. But during this storm, as unusually powerful bolt, at least 10 times more powerful than regular lightning bolts, likely generated the electrical shock wave, which then hit the ionosphere. According to space weather, when electrons from within the EMP hit the ionosphere, they charge particles, excite nitrogen atoms, which then give off the reddish glow. Okay. What do we got here? Other types of transient luminous events. Sounds almost like American by saying that. TLEs. Since has begun shooting them in 2019. This is not the first time. Sprites. And so there you go, sprites. We know about sprites. They're the ones that shoot up into space, isn't it? Like this have been photographed from Earth in February 2021. A red sprite in Hawaii was photographed alongside blue jets. Yeah, we've seen that. Which are lightning. So we've got a picture of that one. Multiple bolts of lightning, Nebraska. Okay, that must be that one. Let's see what it brings up. Yeah. See, it's got a pop-up here. This is what this dark filter screws up a bit. Doesn't do the pop-ups very well. Okay, where's the picture? It should be there. So, give us the picture. Is it this one? No, it can't be. Looks like the picture's gone. I wanted to refresh my memory on it. Oh well. And we got this other one. Multiple bolts. Let's have a look at that one. Ah, right, here we go. This one's got the red spikes. Pretty cool, that one. Shooting off like a Tesla core at the very top of the Tesla core where it goes buzzing and shoots off the lightning bolts. This, you can see, looks like almost like a reflection, doesn't it, going downwards. And the world is a mystery, isn't it? Just think what's in the universe. Even bigger mystery. Tesla, cool. We've got so much to learn. And they think the Big Bang is all real. I think they're going to have to get out in the space and prove that. Tesla cool. Here we go. Yeah, that one's coming out the side. Have we got? Let's see what images we got. That one's going. Yeah, that one's sort of on the top. That one's on the top, sort of, as well. There's a red one. Yeah, that one's going upwards. Fun stuff. Get you killed though. Okay. Where do we get to? I've got all the plasma stuff to cover still. Oh, we get there. We got. How are we going for time? Oh yeah, it's already 5 o'clock. So I've got to finish up in an hour. So we got there on that one. So we close that one. Oh, actually, I'll post it to the side so you can have a look. Jasper. Here we go. Who we got on? Yes. How's it going? Too busy reading. I'm sorry. Can't look at 2 screens at once. Yeah. Covered a few topics already. You can go back and watch it once I finish though. Sorry to hear that. Sounding like I missed a good one. It's not really that good. But it's just something that needs to be covered because it's doing the rounds again with UFO crashes. Although I was meant to look up the other stuff on UFO crashes too. So yeah, this was the red ring. A rare picture. It's not going to let me type it though. Red ring UAP. I was surprised we didn't hear it on all the other channels out there, so it must be the first one to spot that news item here. Above Italy. Skylab 3. Oh, right, that goes back to the Darcy movie, Fast Walkers. I noticed how they edited some of the NASA videos in it to hide things. I could recover it with an update and do a side-by-side comparison of the original to the movie one and show you how devious some of it was edited to turn it into UFOs when it was just reflections or water droplets. But this one here about the astronauts seeing red flashes over Africa was part of the story. Maybe I wasn't sure which one they were talking about because red flashes are quite common from space because you get the sun reflecting off space debris and satellites and stuff. So they originally thought it was satellites. It sounded like satellites. But the one on the Mercury one is a different story. This is a Skylab. They also got the red flashes. And these are the pictures, apparently. I think this is the 4th photograph, though. And they said this one was an artifact. Not the actual image itself. Not actual thing they were photographing. It does look like an artifact. The other ones look like red dots. Like that there, right? We'll read the article. It's quite an interesting one. James Oberg talks about it here. And there's a talks about it with bullets, which is quite handy. But unfortunately, I don't want to read it because I'm going to make a mess of it because of the eye. But we'll try it on edge again. It's quite interesting. We were told on the Darcy movie it was UFOs, of course. But it's good to get the other side of things, so what the skeptics or the researchers found, which is always missing in these movies on UFOs, right? They never have proper balanced view of things. Normally, for a good movie, a good documentary, you normally have the researchers and skeptics, and then the believers and eyewitness accounts on the other side, right? And then in between is the truth. You know, it's not black and white, but somewhere in the middle, grey. So as researchers or truthers in this field, this is where we got to also be. We got to be in the middle. And also, is it one or the other, or is it something in between? Could it have been UFOs as well as debris or satellites? So you could always keep that in mind as well. So let's read it out.
Skylab 3 UFO photos. Ufologists like to make a big mystery out of 4 blurry photos taken by astronauts Alan Bean, Owen Garriott, and Jack Luzma aboard Skylab 3 on September 20th. 1973. http://www. http://.
I'll just skip past that.
Here is James Oberg's response. The Skylab 3 mission UFO photographs of 1973 by James Oberg. Published December 21st, 2011, with the author's permission. Maccabee and Sparks have an impressive web page on the notorious squiggle photograph that makes some highly dubious leaps of logic.
That's Bruce Maccabee.
First, they assume that of the 4 photos Garriott took, the 3 that showed only a point of light are the flawed ones, and the squiggle is the true actual image. Second, they assume that the unanimous eyewitness testimony of all 3 astronauts Bean, Garriott, and Luzma that they saw an unusually bright point of light, red-tinged and slowly periodically varying in brightness, was all disregardable when balanced against the 1 of 4 photograph. Within the past 2 years I've met face-to-face with Garriott and Luzma, for other purposes, but discussed the sighting with them. I've also discussed it by phone with Bean, who lives in Houston, but I'm not a frequent visitor at his home studio, but read his book's account of the sighting. I first met these men in the 1970s when I went to work at the Johnson Space Center, and have stayed in touch over the years. To my knowledge, neither Maccabee nor Sparks has ever contacted them directly. The interpretation of the objects dimming at sunset at a different time than Skylab dimmed, as an indicator of the object's actual large range, is flawed on 2 counts. First, the interpretation requires assumptions of the object's altitude and other orbital characteristics that are merely convenient guesses and cannot otherwise be corroborated. Second, the assumption that there is no other possible explanation for the difference in dimming time than large physical separation showing up as different sunset times is incomplete. There is another common illumination phenomenon that allows objects near a space vehicle to move into or out of sunlight that is totally independent of orbital sunrise/sunset. That is shadowing by the observing spacecraft, an optical phenomenon seen on some space shuttle TV downlinks of water dumps and views of other small drifting nearby objects shed by the shuttle. This alternative explanation was not, as best I recall, discussed or eliminated by Maccabee and Sparks.
Tut tut, Mr. Bruce.
The prosaic explanation of the dot as a nearby Skylab shed piece of debris is supported by 3 arguments. 1. Similar Skylab shed small debris was observed on all 3 Skylab missions, mostly as dots transiting the solar disk during observations using the station's Solar Telescope. 2. the wardroom window through which this particular object was observed was on the down-sun side of the station, and during the sunset phase of each orbit the station was casting an invisible umbra extending hundreds of meters down-sun. Because the station had already crossed the Earth's terminator, the surface below was in darkness and hence not reflecting sunlight back up into this shadow zone, as happens during most of every daylight pass, so anything in that zone would not be illuminated and would not be visible.
A diagram would be
Something
handy
moving
here.
near the station originally away from it, but quickly into a possible parallel or closing path, could move from sunlight into this zone and appear to vanish. 3. The long duration of the observation, measured in minutes, eliminates the possibility of it being an independent satellite in any different orbit. This is because satellites in crossing orbits have such high relative velocity that the angular velocity is too large even for most eyeball detection, much less minutes of patient watching. Note that here I am conceding Maccabee's argument from the Gemini 11 case that the UFO could not have been the Soviet Proton satellite because it remained in visual and camera range too long. I now favor Sparks's view that the crew observed a bundle of surplus spacewalk tools jettisoned manually a few hours earlier. I also can report an independent search of known large satellites in orbit at that time, including classified vehicles whose orbital data was released decades later, and agree that no other independent satellite affords an explanation of the sighting. But Skylab shed debris was never observed from the ground, too small and not tracked.
Yep, NORAD can't track that.
4. Less powerful is another argument
Well, they probably
that
can
an
now.
object of the actual physical size postulated by Maccabee and Sparks would have been a bizarre naked eye object. Of discernible angular size in the skies of Africa as it passed directly across that continent, yet to my knowledge no UFO reports remotely related in appearance, timing, or direction have ever been found. Considering the known visual stimuli engendered by the Skylab vehicle, the particular illumination conditions of the sunset shadow, and the unanimous testimony of all 3 witnesses as verified by 3 of the 4 photographs taken, I see no compelling case to believe the 4th image is anything but a camera or processing artifact. Go to the UFO Skeptics page.
Okay. So, what did he say there,
Skylab
basically? So, he's saying these are basically jettison tools. Obviously, once they finished with them, they weren't going to use them again, so they threw them out in space so they eventually would decay in orbit and burn up in the atmosphere. And the sun, obviously if they're spinning around or turning around slowly or whatever, hits the sun in the right angle and it flicks back at the camera. So that wasn't mentioned in the movie at all, and it should have been, for balance, not to make everybody believe that NASA's hiding everything. Obviously they investigated and determined it wasn't satellites, but yeah, looks like some other researchers found out they jettisoned rubbish, and that seemed more likely cause of it. And he's talking about here in these points here that the Skylab itself was blocking up sun rays and the camera was on the other side, so it would have caused a shadow where the tools got were in sunlit. Downward window, whatever it was. And because of the duration that you see satellites in orbit, the red reflections were too slow to be satellites, so they excluded satellites there. So they said the objects disappeared, but he's talking about here because of the shadow, the tools would have not been sunlit because they're closer and in the shadow of the Skylab itself. That sort of makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Small debris. observed on the Skylab as dots transition the solar disk using a solar telescope. So that sounds a bit like the Soho that they got in space now apparently, but they used to do it from the ground, I guess. But yeah, you can do your own research on that. You can find some more photographs on that, but it doesn't quite look like UFOs, right? When I heard this one, I thought straight away sun reflecting off something. But yeah, back then, did they have spy satellites or other Russian craft in the sky? I think NORAD would have been able to track that, you know, if there was. So they would have had an anomalous object they didn't have recorded. But the tools back then probably were too small to be detected by their existing setup they had for detection. Now they haven't got as many. Now they've got a lot more satellite up there, all interconnected, right? So they can detect things down to a certain size. Forgot what it was. Was it 3 centimeters or 3 inches or something like that? Past lives, I remember reading out something about it. Anyway, I'll post a link to that one. So if you ever watch that Darcy movie, remember this report: red lights over Africa. I think there was a map somewhere of it. I might just do a quick search on that, see if I can find it. Over Africa, not UFOs. So if it was me, I would have left that one out, because people would have gone and done their own research on that movie, hopefully, and thought, hang on, why wasn't this included in the movie to counteract the argument that it was cover-up of UFOs? And look how small the dots are on the photographs, you know. So yeah, those UFOs were far away if they were observing them. Okay, I'll just leave that open in case I need to read something else. Let's see what else we got here. I thought there was a map. I'll just close that one down. I'll do a search on that one. See if I can find the map. Must have forgot to save it. Yeah, no, I haven't got it here. We'll just do a quick search for it. Red lights, Africa Skylab 3. See what comes up. That's the Sprite thing again. So that's something else you could have considered if there was some sort of storm system below, that the red lights could have been a Sprite. Back then they wouldn't have known about it because they never filmed it, right? Probably hasn't come up. 1973, wasn't it? Mysterious red lights. So that's what Skylab used to look like. It burnt up in the atmosphere, I believe. So I think I read out, didn't I? A couple of live shows back. Well, I'll say a couple, but it's probably a few by now. Maybe I have to go to images. I know there's an image of the flight path anyway. I'm not sure what happened to it. Bruce Maccabee, there we go. The man in question on that article that Oberg was talking about. him and Bruce used to go head to head, debunker and believer. Skylab images. Let's see, maybe it's on Bruce's page. Okay, he's got some pictures of Skylab at least. The image and the astronauts, the 3 men. What else we got? The debriefing, which basically they said it couldn't be a satellite. If you want to read all that. I don't. Oh, here we go. Well, that's one of the images I've seen. Is it the best one though? So you can see that's the sunlit side, and that's when it's in darkness over here. And so they're heading towards the darkness, and the object was next to it, somewhere over here, going this way, that they saw. So that was the tools they threw out, the trash can that was following further down below them. As you know, inertia, object remains in motion unless there's a force acting on it. So that means if they're traveling at 17,000 miles per hour, if they throw out trash, that's also moving at 17,000 miles per hour, but gravity pulls it down, so it gets further and further away, but it's also moving along, still at 17,000 miles per hour, because there's no force to stop it going that direction, only downwards, right, in the gravity field. So obviously they lost sight, and of course, how many seconds would that be? 5 minutes before it disappears into the darkness. You've seen International Space Station tracking, and most of the stuff people see over America lasts like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's gone. It probably says here somewhere, and all this information. Bruce is pretty good on the information side of things. So these are the red dots. Blowing up, as he says there. Is that the 4th image or what? I'm not sure. So this is the most interesting one. But that could easily be like a strange wrench, right? It looks like it's got a bit of a curve to it. I don't know if it's an artifact myself. Could be just a shape of the tool reflecting, a curve wrench that has a little bit coming out the side, like a hand grip thing, where it clips downwards and pinches onto the nut. One of those auto-sizing wrenches, you know what I mean? Let's have a look at some wrenches. I got the crescent one, that's a very common one. Yeah, those ones. And these ones. And you got the fixed ones as well, these ones here. But there's also some other clever ones that are funny shapes, like bit like this one here. Like this one here, look, with the chain. A chain wrench. So it could easily be this, couldn't it? It could be a chain wrench where the chain's come loose and it's gone around that way. Let's have a look at the picture again. Have we got a close-up of it? It's got lots of blurb, like I said. Maybe I should... Oh, here we go. Here's a better one. This is the image I saw. It explains where the red things happened. You can always trust Bruce to be pretty thorough on these things, but his science and maths and all that all works out, but often his conclusions are not terribly correct. In my opinion, anyway. But he is a nice guy. And yeah, so if we looked at that wrench again, that could be like the bit where the chain goes through, and that might be, we can't see the rest of the chain coming around here. See what I mean? And instead of straight bit, we want one that's like a dog leg. Let's see, wrench, dog leg. Like more closer to that one. Yeah, here's one that's sort of a funny shape. I wonder if NASA's got any pictures of their tools. Here we go. This is what I'm thinking of here. More bent like this one here with the chain going around there, right? I suppose that changes the torque. Here's one. But there are ones with multiple lock-in. It's like a movable bit there. It pinches the nut. Exciting stuff, they say. But it's yeah, you got to look at all the possibilities. I don't think anyone's thought about it being a wrench. I might be the only one that's looked at that and said, kind of looks like a wrench with the sun reflecting off it. Yeah. And the other ones could be just nuts and bolts and things, you know, with the single dots. Whereabouts were they? Has he blown them all up? I don't think he did he? No. Was that the funny one, or was that, let's see, we can zoom in on it. So that could easily be like a screwdriver or something, couldn't it? Just something reflecting of a straight piece of metal there. Certainly not circular, is it? And there's that one again. But anyway, have a look at it if you want to. Bruce Maccabee. Maccabee's page on it. Moving on. Yeah, so I was looking at the Darcy Weir movie. I just wonder if I should clip it and show you what I did on my last live stream and show you how deceptive it was. I might do that in future live, I don't know. Depends on time and how much pissed off I am with the people promoting it as a good movie when it's a lot of crap, in my opinion. Before we get on to the other stuff here, I just want to quickly look at people claiming that going back to the UFO crashes with buildings being built around it. There's a lot of idiots on Twitter now finding all these locations since Ross Cohart's brought it up of where they claim to be UFOs buried in plain sight. I don't know if UFO Interest has put it up, but we can have a look at his page in a minute. I think Mick West did. Oh, I think I might have done actually. I'll just go there. I may have reshared it. Yeah, also looked at Skinwalker Ranch's latest episode. I might just talk about that too, actually. It's always so much to talk about. Yeah, the alien on the plane. That's funny. Skinwalker Ranch stuff again. Mick West. Yeah. Where is it? Have I gone past it? Oh, here we go. This is what Mick West posted. That's hilarious. Now UFO Twitter is busy speculating which large round building is actually a cover for a giant UFO and that nobody noticed gently crash into a large populated area. A fun idea, but not exactly a practical one. So what's this place here? Let's see if we can open it up. What's the guy's name? AJ. Here's my 2 cents. My guess is as good as any. A big UFO is probably underneath Madison Square Garden. Okay. So I don't know what that is. Is that a picture theatre or some sort of acting theatre where the seats go around in circles? I don't know. Colosseum. The Romans, maybe they buried a UFO underneath one of theirs. I laugh about it, but that'll probably be the next thing we hear is Ross Cohart saying the Colosseum has a UFO buried underneath it. Don't laugh when you hear that, though, if it does come out. An unconfirmed report claims a UFO too large to transport is at 37 north, 126 east Earth coordinates. A building exists around the alleged craft. The building is 82 meters, 270 feet in diameter, and is designed as an army facility. So why would you build a round building for military use? I suppose you could have shooting galleries in it, couldn't you? Something in the middle that you shoot at. I don't know. Be interesting to go in there and have a look, see what's actually in there. The obvious thing to put a UFO would be in the basement of the Pentagon, because it's not a circular building. You'd build a pentagon over top of it. So yeah, it's just crazy. It's funny though. So going back to the other post I posted, go back to UFO interest though, because I just posted some of them onto my page. So I was talking about the mist on my camera last night. I'll just play a clip of it actually. How are we going for time? Oh, time's flying past again. Looks like I'm not going to get onto all these other tabs again. It's really time consuming, but I've got a couple more days in the weekend left. So I did a short on it, and I did a video, a longer version. They're only under a minute. So it was very misty one night, and unfortunately my camera, you can see it's got the water droplet in the center here. But that's mist. Kind of looks like snow, but it's not. It's very fine water droplets almost. You can't see it with your eyes. I walked the dog in that, and you could feel moisture hitting your skin, but you couldn't see it like you can with infrared camera. And of course, it looks like it's bending and changing changing directions. That's because of the fisheye on that one, and that's why I put up the other one, which is the dual lens one, which doesn't distort the image. And Google doesn't like it because they don't know how to handle this size video. But you can see this one, because it's angled up more, you've only seen it really at the very bottom of the lens of the infrared camera here, because the way the infrared is being projected here, instead of along the ground, it's going more up in the sky. So, someone said it looked like flames. Unlike the water that we saw coming down from the sky, we saw it as streaks, remember? Did I have that one up as well? Looked like streaks, but you can see this one almost looks like it's bouncing around the lens. It looks like it's even getting heated up by the infrared lights itself and going upwards. It looks like it's flying upwards, doesn't it? If you look at the edge there, looks like it's going upwards, some of it, and some of it's coming down and it's going upwards. So it's got to be the heat of the camera moving up there, right? Yeah, it kind of looks like snow, but it's not. But it's very similar to what happens in space. You get this really fine mist, which they call it cryogenic snow, because it looks like snow there, doesn't it? But it's actually mist. I'm not sure if I had any rain ones up here. I think I did on other live shows, but not actually individually, did I? But it doesn't matter, we'll move on. If you go back to UFO interest page, you put this one up here, where you got this think tank fraud site that keeps promoting stuff, natural stuff as UFOs, and this is again NASA one. And UFO interest said it's Polston thrusters and cryogenic snow. That's because when they use cryogenic gases, that's normally nitrogen and other similar type gases, and they're extremely cold. And once they hit normal temperature, 0 degrees or higher, it turns into this really fine vapor powder snow. And this is what you get in space as well.
Afghanistan and India.
And that's what happens when they fire the boosters. And the vapor byproduct instantly freezes into this fine mist of ice crystals, I guess. Doesn't look like ice crystals, but
it moves into sunrise.
Some people are saying there's a lot of UFOs leaving Earth. How stupid.
Russia. Afghanistan and India.
So, yeah, moving on. Old fake video created by CGI artist, the Fakin Hoaxer. 2019. Yeah, so what was this one? So it just shows you what people will do. They'll take hold of a regular NASA video and they'll stick some CGI blobs on it and call them UFOs and add some distortions and other filters, right? And that's probably not even the audio, right? In fact, it looks like they've added some strange distortion going this way. Kind of looks like interlacing, but interlacing normally goes the other direction. Alright, so if you see that one around, you know it's a CGI fake. I think he's got a link to a side-by-side comparison here. Oh, here we go. We'll just bring that up. I think Gufon played it too. He said he didn't know what it was because he never did any research on it. Well, he didn't follow UFO interest, obviously. Oh, he's got some music. Yeah. He never talks on them. I don't know why. Maybe his English is not so good, or his accent. Hey, I'm not perfect. I still try. I found the original photograph edited by the fake and hoaxer as background image taken on June 29 from Paul Watson. Watch the comparison. So it was actually taken from okay, it's not a photograph, it's actually a video. So there's the original video. So you can see what artifacts this faker used, right? So it looked like he put interlacing going the wrong way or whatever. Video edited with the original photograph background. Is it Tikapoo Peak that he filmed it from? CGI published by YouTuber, recycled. Does it say it's Tikapoo Peak or whatever it's called? Does it say here? Homey Airport, taken in 1989. Yeah, Tikapoo Peak by Paul Wilson. That was actually on the video. I must have missed it. Yeah, so this is obviously a really good telephoto. I think they've banned that location now, haven't they? And you can see there's no UFOs in the original. You can see all the artifacts he added on: distortion, interlacing. And he stuck NASA over the top, which is not a NASA image at all. What else he did? And he also added the audio. Scumbags is what I call them. I hate people that do this stuff because it really ruins the field. Unless you have a watermark where it says fake, and if you zoom you can see fake, but still, even that's going to be recycled for years now, and that's going to be never got rid of, and it's just going to ruin the field. And look how many people believe NASA are lying and covering up. Well, that just adds to it again, doesn't it? What we're saying here, yes, Madison Square Gardens is a multi-level sports and entertainment centre. So have they got IMAX in it? Is that what you mean? IMAX theatre? That would be ideal because the curved surface on the outside would be good for the screen, right? Because I normally have these large screens that are sort of curved. And have the seats in the centre going downwards towards it. That would make sense, wouldn't it? What's the next one? Jaime, I mean, we've got to change the J's to H's. Jaime Maussan shared another fake video. A short version of a CGI video without knowing it. Okay. Original video. Yeah, let's have a look at the original then.
So boys, I'm willing to stick my neck out just to prove that Gargantua from Interstellar is legit. Wish me luck.
Gotta be careful. I probably got copyright claim on that. I forgot about the music.
This seem normal to anyone else?
Why'd you put music on stuff used, people? So what are we looking at here? Looks like a car park of a big supermarket chain. Kmart or something like that. We got lens flare happening from the lights. And we got something strange happening in the sky. Oh, fact. portal opening up. Oh, well, if that was over the shopping mall, I think we'd be in trouble. So without knowing, it showed a black hole. So I wonder how much he showed of it then, because that's kind of funny if he showed that. Do we have more of it? With him, I've been wondering for a long time how far he believes what he spreads. It's all about money. But where's the bit he spread though? He obviously didn't take a screen snapshot. I don't know. Oh, here. Here we go. Jaime Maussan. So this must be the original one. Don't know what it says though. Is there a translate? So what
Seem
part of
normal
it?
to anyone else?
Oh, it's all blurred as well. See how they recycle and cut people's CGI videos?
Oh shoot!
Right. So he really did chop it off. What an idiot! Anyway. That's not what you call a real investigative journalist then. That's what you call copy and paste journalist. It doesn't do fact check before he publishes it, right? And who's the big promoter of them? Third phase of the moon. Actually, you're not allowed to say the moon. Third phase of the moon. You can't say it. Third phase of moon. You just can't say it because it sounds stupid. Third phase of moon. Hey. I think they didn't know it had the in it themselves. You're unable to view this. I've been blocked. Okay. Section 51. Okay. Don't be fooled, that's an old fake. So here's the one I got blocked on. Let's have a look. Yeah. What is it? Meant to be fish in the sky. This thing here. It's meant to be a flying disc, is it? CGI. See, you can't trust anything in video nowadays. July the 8th, 2023. Absolutely wrong. That's an old fake debunked in 2015. See, here we go. We've got recycling going on again. I think I've seen this one too, actually.
UFO. Weird.
It looks so fake.
Is that UFO stuff? Oh my god, I can see a little bit. Oh my god, what the hell is that?
Oh, it's so fake.
Oh my god. I don't want to get that close. Oh shit. You think that's important? Oh my god.
If we looked at frame by frame, we wouldn't see distortion in the dots either, I bet you. See, the camera's moving all over the place. There should be distortions.
Oh my god, that's scary. Oh my god, I'm gonna move back. I'm gonna get behind you guys.
Oh god. TikTok video going viral. TikTok's going to be a pain in the bum. Who watches TikTok? So going to be all those young minds that actually believe all this stuff. Don't forget this is CGI video created by a VFX artist. So here's another one. Alien. Skinny Bob. Sounds like a Tyler fake to me. He probably made it himself, surely. He reckons it's this guy. T-Surbus. T-Surbus. That would be something like Tyler Klotner would do. With the fake voice. Yuri Geller's promoting it, is he? Oh my god. Yeah, he's into all the fakes. Videos side by side. Yeah, this was a known fake after exposing the truth about TikTok video shared. So it was him. Thinks it's a cover-up. Cover-up. So what have they done here? Retinted it.
Some people say, it's not really, it's a fake. Some people say, it's not really, it's a fake. Some people
yeah, it just shows what you can do with CGI, and then what you can do with re-editing it. Crazy, isn't it? So this is another guy that's a problem. Is he doing live shows or something?
Very carefully, very carefully. Some people say, it's not real, it's a fake. I believe that it's absolute.
Here's the original video. We've looked at this one before, haven't we? Whoever blocked me a while ago, the hoax cut the handshake. It's a CGI video made by Seminar 4D R21 and After Effects as exposed here. Okay, so we've seen the video. What's the Facebook account? I don't think we looked at that. Okay, so what's it saying here? Just another test. Okay, so he's admitting that he's made it. See more. There you go. It tells you what software he used. Rendered engine. So these are the stuff that the guys used to do when I was at university, or trying to do. The software wasn't that good back then, but it's amazing what these guys would do. Probably better find errors in it. So what's this dark line here? See that there? That doesn't make sense yet. It looks like the light source is here, and they've got the light source reflecting off here. I don't think you'd get shadow straight on from the body that way. See, something doesn't look right here as well, doesn't it? It looks like a different shade of darkness. Yeah, so you can see that it was made. So yes, that's the thing you can spot. If you look at enough CGI videos, you can find mistakes like that in the shadows and lighting. Anyway, carrying on. I'm going to have to wrap up in 5 minutes though. I think we've got near the end of that one. I think maybe I'll go back to my other bits here, but maybe I need to add it onto that list there of things to cover, because it is about science of Faraday cages. I was going to talk about Faraday cages and how you can protect your electronics and all that sort of stuff. What's this one? About the new release of the Mojave Triangle. Palm Springs. So what's this here? Apologize for no video and a halfway terrible picture, but there is a story behind this. Haven't we? Isn't that old news now? Yeah, it looks like it. May. So it's going back to the flares. We are finished there. Okay. Yeah, so I was going to do Faraday cages and prepping. Free strike. Was that the one about Faraday cages? I think so. There's some interesting stuff in that, but I might just leave that for another day. Build your own Faraday cage, so I'll cover that. what was that one there? So I found this list which I converted to a text file on Discord if you want to grab it. It's got a good, how many pages? 23 pages. Some of them have been cut out because of copyright, because it's only a preview. And I thought it'd be a good list to have a look through. And maybe even look up the cases of some of them. Saturn-shaped UFO EMF effects on truck, stuff like this. So it goes back to the 1950s and also goes to the end of 1995. So it's written by Richard Hall. I think that's the English guy. It's got a fairly interesting book here. I'll post a link to it and you can have a read of the preview. But yeah, you can see all these cases here that he's put in here. I thought it would be handy to have. There's also, according to Robert, a battle list on NICAP website. Where did it start? I must have gone past it, have I? No, 65, 66. Must have been there. Chronicles, it was called. Where's the start of it? Oh, there, 50s. There you go. 1952 it starts. Japan, small shiny disc made pass at Air Force plane. So it'd be interesting if we could find any information on that one. Because as it gets older, it's very hard to find it on the web unless people scan it in. Davis, Maussan Air Force Base, Arizona. 2 disc-shaped UFOs approached close to a B-36 bomber. So that sounds interesting. Also seen from the ground. So this is probably the real cases that we never get to hear about because all the noise of all the crap and fake stuff just hides it all. Gulf of Mexico Air Force bomber tracked mothership. Smaller high-speed objects on radar. So why aren't we hearing stuff about this from all these talking heads? Mobile AL luminous object descended, hovered in front of airliner and then sped away at upward angle. Okay, I wonder what angle that was because I was talking about angles. But my thing on angles was whether there was going to be creatures inside that wouldn't really want to go over 45-degree slope. But I might cover that sometime in the future if I can be bothered. Because this is the idea that these UFOs could be piloted by AI intelligence machines that are like super light and very strong and can take the G-forces and accelerations inside. And whether they could be remote controlled, like a mind meld, like Mr. Spock in Star Trek, where you sort of Avatar, you know, where you sort of control it by linking into your mind. And because I know that humans are trying to work on that sort of technology, right, where you could just put a chip in the brain, or Elon Musk has been trying to suggest it. Futurism, or whatever it's called, put a chip in the brain, be able to control the jet fighter without having to move your arms and all that sort of business. So you could do that remotely too, if you had the satellite system above. And of course that's where Elon's satellites might also have a dual purpose. Who knows what they build into satellites and what the government's asking to be added in, their own secret band or whatever. So you have to keep an eye on that sort of stuff. But yeah, reading through that list is quite interesting. White Mountains, Barney and Betty Hills there. So it's got some ones we've heard about. So even got some New Zealand cases here. Lemon, New Zealand, disc with dome illuminated area and green light. 2 beings visible in dome. So stuff like that I haven't come across, although it should be in those X-Files. Maybe it was in the X-Files, and I missed it, because reading those FOIA leak, you know, the old photocopy printouts, or what they call them, facsimiles or whatever, it's just terrible writing on them, and it's not in a clear, like, summarized list like Black Vault does, or like these book writers do. Sakaro's there. Newark Valley farmer found shiny elliptical object in the field. I can't remember that one. Confronted by two small humanoids who spoke with him. So who knows if that one's real or not, but a glowing oval object landed in dentations and scorch marks. So that sounds like physical evidence. So there's a lot of cases here. Normally we had Robert Farmer comes on, goes through a lot of those. He used to. Now we just get him occasionally on the show when he's got time, I guess. But he was once a week, or maybe even twice a week, doing shows with me on this sort of stuff. So I'll post a link to it and go and check it out. Something I come across when I was searching for some other information. So it's a big list of UFO cases, I guess, or reports. So there might be enough information there to actually search it and see what else you can find out on it. But unless people have scanned all those reports in, we're never going to find it on the internet remotely, are we? So that's the downside of not being able to go to libraries and look through old newspaper looking for witness accounts or whatever. But that's what these guys do, you know. They go around these libraries, dig up old newspapers, and then write it into a book and then sell you the book. Or you get people making crappy movies and editing video, NASA videos, being deceptively trying to claim that he's a proper researcher, investigator, Darcy Weird, as I call him. So yeah, Faraday cages, plasma, all sorts of things here that I'm going to go over. 20 space myths, so see if we can cram that in the next live sometime this weekend, I hope. Let's see, it's Saturday now. Will I have energy tomorrow? That's the question. Or Monday, I might be able to do one Monday, which will be your Sunday. So let's see how we go and how I feel and all that. But it might have to be a late night one Sunday. If I do it in the evening. Let's see. Evening of Sunday. Oh, it's a possibility. I'll think about it anyway. See how I feel. Sometimes I have really bad days where I'm got a neck pain or whatever, or a headache, or eye is too blurry. But yeah, I'm just going to say good night here and just wrap up for today anyway. Hopefully you enjoyed what I covered tonight. Like I said, it's all a bit of a mix today, and some extra bits researched live, of course. And it's always going to be a wee bit messy. It's not scripted or anything, obviously. Average Joe, as I call it. This is Average Joe's channel, where you just sit and relax and just wander through all the different stuff out there. Have a laugh and try and figure out what's noise and what's is really interesting, and science bits and all that sort of stuff. That's really what I'm about anyway. Figuring it out, trying to find out the truth, and trying to avoid all the drama, because drama wears you down. So good night there and there. I think we had the average of 2 people watching today. Yay! I don't know where everybody's gone, but I don't care. And if they don't want to listen, that's their loss, because really, I do other stuff that other people don't, obviously, right? Yep, thanks Jasper, thanks Yaz, I'll catch you guys later. Great that these 2 showed up anyway. Ring up the end credits. And I'll upload it to the podcast network so the podcasters can have a listen in after dinner, I guess. You got lots of links there you can go through in more detail. I did skim it through a wee bit there. But if we ever have a slack day, we can always go through that list and see what we can do, a search and see what we can find. That might be an interesting thing to do. Like I said, there's always lots to talk about in this field. And if you include science as well, and a lot of people don't include science because they think it turns off people, but I think you need that technical and science tech in ufology, because it means it's more of a research and then a serious science field rather than just a gimmick and fantasy and stories only. So it's better than having a panel show with talking heads on it all the time, right? Although they're occasionally good to have open chat. Whenever I do it though, no one comes on. Anyway, better end this.